Hello, 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 hello. How are you today? Yes, the turtleneck's back on. Still bloody cold. And I'm sure some of you viewers out there are in cold land as well. Short message today. Get to it in a minute. Just checking out the stats here. As I've explained, a weird situation. The camera used to give me time to do the layout with the dancing girls, but it doesn't allow that anymore. If I want to see the layout, the recording starts, so I have to set the situation up. Well, I'm in place. I hope my voice is in place. Well, you know who I am, John Beattie, International Director of the British People's League, bringing to you fresh daily Dinosaur News, March the 6th, 2014. One more day to go. It's been a struggle. 3 weeks every day. I was warned. My friends at Candor said it's not going to be as easy as all that, Beattie boy. To keep the enthusiasm, I mean, there's lots to talk about, that's for sure. And I've had some good pals on the blind list give me some pointers. Actually, my pointer for today's message, I gleaned from a show in the States, a Patriot show in the States. There's that little black Sambo kitty cat buzzing all over the place. Okay, are we serious? Are we hard patriotics here? Hard patriot gentlemen, if I could be called a gentleman. 2 retired policemen said hi today and nodded as they were off duty at Tim Hortons today, so I couldn't be all that bad. Sort of indirectly leads into today's topic. Implosion. I-M-P-L-O-S-I-O-N. The exact opposite of explosion. Implosion. Dying from within. Oh, there's a positive message here. But I got to be a bit hypocritical to sneak in the negative aspect for the positive tail end. So what I gleaned from this Patriot show today, they were debating and discussing different aspects. Oh yes, they were discussing homosexuality being allowed in the American military. And one fellow said, well, that'll deteriorate the forces. Well, it flashed a bulb here, Beattie boy. Flashed a bulb. Because years ago, when it first started out in internet radio, I used to preach that, and it's still there. Implosion. Not happy about it, but implosion is everywhere. The school system is imploding. The Medicare in the states imploding. Street crime. Multicolored gangs assaulting white people in broad daylight. You know the scoop. You know the story. That's why we're here. If there wasn't any message to portray, I wouldn't be Chicken Little screaming the sky is falling in. But think about it. The implosion, the watering down the American Armed Forces. I don't think the Canadian Armed Forces would be watered down to the same extent as the multiculturalism in the forces in the States, and just the watering down of the requirements to join the American forces, including the watering down of even a thing like chin-ups for the women troops, etc. So can you see where I'm heading with this? If the armed forces are watered down, I mean, Putin over there, the Russian leader, he's just snickering with his bosses in the headquarters rooms. They've got tough Russian troops. America's got watered down versions of God knows what. Canadian troops, well, a lot of young Canadian men are raised on ice hockey, etc. I think they're a pinch above in caliber. But I don't know. Remember a couple of years back, there were 2 frigates off the coast of Nova Scotia that had to be brought back in. They were all stoned on coke. One of the officers on the ship stoned on coke. Distribution center. So who knows? Who knows? But what I'm getting at is the implosion is everywhere in the school system. I mean, that's why there's more homeschoolers all the time. In the law and order, you name it. I'd like to talk Rosie, but what's Rosie to talk except cottage country and the white villages? We're spoiled up here. We don't have the crime rate or anything compared to the States or compared to the cities in Canada. I have to choose my words carefully here. I don't want to create hysteria. But as the implosion continues and continues, where does that put people like this speaker, or people in America and people in Britain, the homeland, who have been smeared for years as racist, hate mongers, because we oppose multiculturalism invading our lands? Well, don't you think these smears have made us tough? There's men in the homeland attached with Candor, candor.org.uk, candour.org.uk, who have been at this for decades, preparing for the multi-cult collapse. Now, I know locally in cottage country, there's thousands of cottagers and thousands of locals who do the hunting up here, especially November. They're all sharpshooters. So if a collapse came, these hunters can take care of things, believe me, north of the 401. There's no illegal hidden militias up here, folks. I'm just saying when the collapse, not if, but when. It's every day you can see it, like the cities in Detroit and so on. Jane and Wilson Corridor in Toronto. Leeds, Bradford, in the motherland. The more implosion, the more there's no doubt we're going to survive. I have been on so many of these shows preaching that, we're being outbred and outmaneuvered, etc. Yes, that's all true. We are being outbred. We're being outmaneuvered in the legislatures, etc. by a bunch of pansies. But with the implosion, and as I say, going a bit of a full circle here, those who have been smeared, those who are talking together, perhaps there'll be a big light on March the 15th when around the world in white countries there are going to be tokens of white resistance showing themselves, whether it's banner drops, as said, not on top of cars, but the banners across highway overpasses, little get-togethers, big get-togethers. It remains to be seen just what will happen on March 15th. But tying it all in, as whites unite around the globe, and I have to admit, even if in different factions or whatever, and as the armed forces collapse, the standards are lowered, and even in the police departments, the standards are becoming lowered. Then we have to think of all those potential recruits out there who are retired policemen, who can be behind the scenes. They don't have to be known. Sambo the cat, he knows when it's TV time, YouTube time, because he's just puttering around back there just trying to bug me. Actually, one of our viewers in Ottawa said I should introduce him, but he won't sit long enough to be introduced. Okay, back to some serious matters here that I feel are very positive. Very positive. It reminded me, I used to preach it all the time, Implosion. There was a book written years ago, The Turner Diaries by Dr. William Pierce of the United States. And he was a brilliant man. He was a physicist. So he's no dummy. He predicted all of the implosions going on, and they are. And he predicted it too. So with the softening of the armed forces, the softening of the authorities, and those who have been smeared, who are tough and rough, and we are tough and rough. I might talk sweet and nice on these shows, but believe me, I'm pretty good with a baseball bat. Never owned a gun in my life, but I can handle a baseball bat. I guess what I'm trying to say is that those who have been smeared, our day of revenge will come. That's a nasty word, John. Revenge for what? For the suffering that a lot of our people, a lot of key spokespeople for the white man have gone through, those of British stock around the globe. So, we've taken all the crap that's been thrown at us over the years. We're here. We're building stronger. All legal, by word of mouth, YouTubes, internet radio shows, you name it. We're networking. We're tightening our bonds of friendship. We don't want to use the word organizations. Oh, organizing. Oh, white people organizing. The multi-cult invasion has forced us to organize. Or as I said about Sir Winston Churchill, warning. We must be prepared. Churchill warned to keep Britain white. Sir John A. Macdonald wanted to keep Canada white. It was a white Australia policy. So you multi-cult dreamers out there who think that you're going to win, you ain't going to win. Whitey is just starting to wake up. The tiger's tail has been pulled. We're just waiting for the right opportunity to show our stuff, to go coast to coast, ranting and raving. Stir up the sleeping giant from his and her slumbers. You've seen the soccer moms, how excited they get at a soccer game. Imagine when they're raving against the multicultural invasion, when they are openly in our camp. Now there's another key word, opening up another few minutes here in the show today. Dinosaur News. Openly. Even though I'm sticking up for our British roots, our British heritage, our British culture, I do have to refer to the American white right often because, well, they have the numbers. We don't have those numbers yet. So there's also a debate on different internet shows down there about the word openly. Do we have sleepers who stay at their stockbroker's job or their banker's job or their policeman's job who are with us sympathetically, who might shoot the odd group a few bucks now and then in plain envelopes or whatever? They're not in the open. Or take a debate with a lawyer down in the States. I think it's Sam Francis or Sam Dixon down in the American South having a good debate about how would you guide a 15-year-old student? Would you say, get your professional paperwork through the educational system and then you can help the white cause greatly? Well, if he's 15, 10 to 15 years from now is going to be almost too late. I'm going to speak heresy. I've always been a loose cannon in what's called the white right. I'd say if a 15-year-old wants to run away from home, well, that's not legal. So whatever age it is, if he's got the urge to help the white cause, let him do it. Let her do it. They may end up on welfare, whatever, but we need action now. Legal action, of course. I'm encouraging people to end up as dummies, am I? Well, with an educational plan that they stay through the system, it's going to be too late. I'll take a little wee town near this house in central Ontario's cottage country, Lindsay, Ontario, Canada. I spent my summers, my childhood summers there, just wonderful times with the farmers. Spent the summers on a farm. My parents couldn't afford a cottage, so we spent the summers on a farm. And hearing the farmers talk on the street corners of Lindsay as a boy, whatever. But the shock of my life, I moved up into central Ontario's cottage country, escaped the city of Toronto in 1983. So, Plaza's white, bright and beautiful. Still white, bright and beautiful here in the village, not counting tourist season. But Lindsay, Ontario, I had to go down for a medical, whatever, nothing serious, just routine. And I went into the plaza. I just about died. Oh, they were pleasant. Multi-cults of every stripe and color sitting on the benches. I wondered if there wasn't a festival going on. No, no, no. It's spreading north. There'll be no hideouts. As one radio guy says in the States, what's the point in moving? It's everywhere, multi-cult. But again, the multi-cults ain't exactly what you would call bright light bulbs. They come here because this is where the pie is, the white man's pie. But with their lack of abilities and their drain on the system, implosion is everywhere. And you all see it. You see it in the jobs. You see it in the service industry. Now, I'm going to say it's collapsed a quicker rate down in the States, of course. But it's hitting here too. It's just the lack of service, the lack of genuine pleasure to serve you, pleasure to find the product for you out in the store that used to be there 20 years ago is no longer there. Our whites as well, materialistic, etc. But again, those who have chosen the rough, hard lifestyle within our white circles, we're ready for whatever happens. If the Army can't handle things, then we'll have to. Legally, of course. Legally, of course. Dreaming? Well, just check out history. Either like ancient Rome fell and collapsed from multiculturalism. All histories collapse from multiculturalism. But, you know, they could push it back for a while. Well, could we only push it back for a while? It's going to be different this time. What my parallel white image figures, white activist figures, spokespeople have gone through and suffered. So we're ready. There's nothing can be thrown at us. Nothing. We're ready. All legal, of course. We're just being here. Just the psychological fact that there's 1,000 John Beatties in America. There's 1,000 John Beatties in Mother Britain. And we're just waiting for the collapse. We don't have to do anything, really. Just keep on preaching. Keep the spirits up. Speaking to you and our subscribers list, especially in the motherland. I want to thank one particular subscriber who, within minutes of these videos going out to the subscriber list, he lets me know. Received. All okay, received fine and dandy. So anyway, that's the scoop for today. Yesterday we were talking about the French-Canadian situation, which now that there's an election called in Quebec becomes a bit pertinent. So if you're wondering why I did a video yesterday on the French-Canadian situation, you might want to check it out again now that there's an election being called in Quebec once again. And today we're talking about implosion, which is going to work for our benefit. So we're just biding the time. Don't get depressed and think it's hopeless, because it isn't hopeless. We're here. We're ready and able. Aye, aye, sir. So we'll talk at you tomorrow. And again, it's appreciated if there's a current topic that you think I should be talking about on the Dinosaur News, then send it along to BritishCanada@gmail.com. BritishCanada@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in today, and we'll talk at you tomorrow, Friday, March the 7th. Bye for now.